That it is the HDFNL Footy Show, Dave. It's not often that we see you every second week off, but with the Footy Show, you've been fairly consistent.
I tried to be, Brian, and it's a good evening to you and a good evening to our viewers. I think that's a bit harsh. No doubt my legion of supporters will back me in saying that.
Your what?
Legion of supporters.
You've got a legion of supporters, do you now?
I do.
Right.
And hi to Dennis Gardner. He's my number one fan.
Anyone else you can name, or just Dennis?
Karen Hancock.
Mum. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, interesting weekend of footy. A little bit predictable. We kind of knew where we were was the match of the round, and there's a big gap now between Mount Pleasant, who are on top, and the bottom sides. They just go to an extra gear. It's like they sit in first gear for a while, Mounts, and just go when they like. Just put the foot on the pedal.
Yeah, it was funny because I was watching that match while we called the White Hills and North Bendigo game, and I was a bit surprised at the start because Elmo kicked the first two goals of the game. I thought, "Oh, here we go. Coggo's got an exciting game," but unfortunately, it didn't turn out to be that way because that was all that they kicked for the rest of the game, Elmo, which was probably a little bit disappointing. 2 goals, 4 for the game against 18-9, 117. In what you said, probably a one-sided affair after quarter time.
And it was wet, so there's a few.
Yeah, we did see a bit of rain on the camera coming through early on. So, yeah, look, but at that stage, Elmo were leading. So, I don't know what happened after that, Cogs.
Yeah, look, they're a good side. I mean, and, to have someone like Nathan Kay, who was their best player for a few years, to be playing against them is just it's like stubbing your toe, mate. It hurts, so.
Yeah, and look, I just see Nathan kick 2 goals or so. It's funny how players seem to get up a little bit more against their old side, don't they? Just generally speaking.
He copped a bit, but I mean, he took it. He's put
Yeah.
it, I mean, they're always going to say something. I don't know how it ended at Elmore. I've got no idea, but maybe it was a bit messy. I'm not sure, but anyway,
yeah. And looking at the goal kickers there, Joel Warden kicking 3 and also Jackson Nile kicking 3. Notice Benny Waitman didn't play, Cogs.
No, I'm not sure what's going on with Benny. I think he's a bit sore, but
do you think they just nursed him to the finals?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure, but one thing I do know is that we said Razanak from Heathcote was a chance for the medal, and we spoke about a few others. Put Jack Hickman in there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
well, Jack was actually named one of the best players.
he
goes all right.
He was the best player. Trust me.
Yeah, right.
He was the best player on the ground.
Yeah, kicking a goal and must have racked up a few possessions. Unfortunately for Elmore, not much you can really say there. Better players, Matt Philo, Reece Holmberg, Hayden Drury, Charlie O'Toole, and Lockie Munro. And those the 2 goals was kicked by one player in Lockie Gall. So I'm sure Luke Freeman's scratching his head up there thinking, what can they do for the rest of the year? Because I have done a bit of analysis of the run home for all sides for the last 4 rounds, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yeah, I do. I enjoy that. Yeah, I was very impressed when I saw that.
And it doesn't bode well for Elmore, unfortunately.
No. They probably want the season to finish quicker than what it is, but it is what it is. I would think that Mount Pleasant have just got the difference between them is that I could see it from being a long time commentator, and that is that they just set up a wall. So when Elmore, who are under enormous pressure down in their back line, just pick it up and kick it, guess what? Guess who's there? A wall of 4 players. Lockington aside, when I first come into the HDFNL, that did it so well. They do it though, but it also takes good players in your forward line as well to put the pressure on, and they just that's what they do. So when the ball comes out, they've got every angle covered. And it felt like at times I felt like saying, "Can we stop the game and check to make sure Elmore's got enough players on there?" That's what it was like.
Yeah, bit of a head count.
But I mean, it's not. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
No, I was going to say you keep going.
Oh, it's not Captain Obvious time, but they do have the replays every week. So regardless of that, it's hard for Elmore's coach to work around that because there's so much pressure to get it out of there, and you kick the ball out of there, and it's going to come back just as quick. So
So to me,
Yeah,
that
that's
sounds
how they
like it's
do
more of
it.
a
They might,
structural problem.
yeah, they might be able to do it, Mounts, against the really good sides. They did try it last week
Yeah,
against Colbo and it worked on
yeah,
occasions. But the trouble is that Leno's kind of doing the same thing. So,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So once you got it in there, it's a bit like, you don't want it to come out. You don't want it to go past the centre line. There was a quarter there where I think it went into the forward line once for Elmore. So,
Yeah, right.
you're pretty congested.
Yeah. Well, it was a very similar tale over at Scott Street where we were, me and Nick, where North
Nick and I,
Bendigo,
mate.
well, Nick and I, North Bendigo ran away comfortable winners 21-19, 145 to White Hills 7-7-49. But like your game, White Hills came out of the box early and kicked the first two goals, and I thought, oh, here we go here. And then North Bendigo responded with 4 goals in the first quarter to be up by 2 goals. But same thing again with White Hills, just that second term faded out. They only kicked the 1 goal 2 to 5-5, which then gave North Bendigo pretty much about a 6 goal lead at halftime. And then pretty much after that, North Bendigo ran away, kicking 12 goals in the second half to White Hills' 4 to win comfortably by 96 points. And speaking to Brad McConnell after the game, he was a bit frustrated. He said, look, um, got a lot of young kids in the side at the moment. Charlie Mortimer was a really good player for them, but they're just only doing it in patches and they're not doing it for long enough. And I think that's the frustrating thing for Brad. Robbie Bennett, I think he's just sharpening the personnel, making sure that they're going to be slick and ready because they've got a couple of big weeks coming up. North Bendigo, they play both Mount Pleasant and Heathcote, which will be cracker, which we'll talk about a bit later. But yeah, look, Jordan Ford up forward, kicking 6 goals again for North. Dill Clem kicking 4. The best for White Hills was Charlie Mortimer, a young 18-year-old with a bit of blonde hair, rinse through the hair. He was really good in the second half, very lively. Lockie Martin also kicking 3 for the Heelys. But yeah, I think it sets up a cracker of a couple of next weeks for North Bendigo, and it's going to be a good test for them against both Mount Pleasant and Heathcote.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it'll be a beauty. Again, like you wouldn't want to put. Well, there's only 4 games to go. I mean, that's the thing is that we're in around
Yep.
15, so there'll be 4 games, and that's it. It's amazing how quickly it's gone. Even quicker for you when you do every second week. But the thing is that um, they they have the beauty of a few of them use Premier Data. I think North Bendigo does, Heathcote does. Who else is in there? Colbo certainly do. So there's a lot
Yep.
of those teams that Huntley do. Lockie as well. So they've not only got the replays, they've actually got the data as well. So
The data to back it up. Yeah.
yeah, so whether or not that helps, I don't know. I think there's quite a few teams that you talk to them and they go, "How's your mum?" kind of thing with it, and others just swear by it. It's not
Yeah.
so.
Look at yeah. At the end of the day, does it help strategically and tactically? Probably does to a little bit of degree, but at the end of the day, it's still the 22 players on the field that's got to win the game for the club, don't they?
Mm, mm. And I think the difference is with North Bendigo and certainly the top 4 sides. Maybe not, maybe Heathcote, but certainly Colbo is that they have players they can swing around. Like Jordan Ford is just a luxury to go up there and kick 6. And
Yeah.
I was watching your replay, and because that's what I do every week when we put him in. He gave a couple away as well. So
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and he was
yeah,
pretty quiet to start off with, and he just came over a bit of a flurry.
yeah,
They had just answers on every line. North Bendigo, White Hills, they were valiant. I thought Mitchy Doll was pretty good in patches. Tamba Basher really well in the ruck early
yeah.
on. Young Tamba up against Hargraves. In fact, I think he won that battle early on, and
Mm.
Harry Shields also came in the ruck. He battled hard. Probably fair to say
Like
that
Harry. He's a
Hargraves.
good boy. He's a good boy, Harry. I like Harry.
Yeah, he's a good boy. And look, and Brad acknowledges they got probably, a few of the younger kids that just need a bit of time in their legs and a bit of run in the seniors to get that experience, which, that's what they're doing this year.
Yeah, indeed. He's good, mate. How you feeling about the old hometown?
Well, very optimistic. They haven't put a foot wrong since that loss against Lockerton that we called that day.
Yeah.
And I did tip Heathcote to beat Colburn, so proven to be correct this time. Probably thought the margin surprised me. I thought it would have been a little bit closer, maybe one or two goals in it, but 10-14, 74 running out 23-point winners to Colbo 7-9, 51. So look again, the Heathcote second and third quarters, they kicked 7 goals to 3, which pretty much gave them that 4 goal buffer, which they won by at the end of the game. Looking at some of their better players, Shawnee Williams kicking 4 goals. He was named in the best, as to Cody Price and Justin Bates, and he's probably last month's had a really good purple patch. He's kicked a bag of goals last week, didn't kick any this week, but named in their best. Razanak, 3 goals. Now, what I did do during the week, I watched some of his VFL highlights. Coggo, do yourself a favour
Say it again.
when Razanak, when he played VFL for Essendon, watch some of his highlights that are on YouTube. So suggest do yourself a favour and watch a few of them because some of the stuff he did at the VFL level was unbelievable. So you can understand why he's doing it at Heathcote League level. For Colin Abbott, Jude Ryan and Daniel Hill are naming their best. Lane Fitzgerald kicked 2 goals, and I think Grenfell kicked 3. So between those two, they kicked 5 of the 7 goals. Singles to Jude Ryan and Clint Shields. Yeah, not quite sure where that puts Colburn Abbott in terms of the run home and their ladder positioning. I've done, like I
I think
said,
I'll be
done a bit of
right.
analysis. Yeah, they'll
I
be
think
top
I'll be right.
5.
Yeah.
It's just where they're going to end up on the ladder, which we'll see in my predictor very shortly. And the other game, Cogs, I think it was up at Leachfield, who had a comfortable win against Lockington.
Yeah, I think Lockie. I was talking to the boys at the Harlem Globetrotters on Sunday night,
Ah,
Todd
yes.
Phillips and
Yep.
Mitchie. They got some injuries. Thomas Leach is out for the season, or what
Yep. That's a big loss.
mid-season. So they just they might be just making it home, mate. That's about it. Which is
Yeah.
probably what Huntley needs to hear. But yeah, I mean, it's up to them, but they won't die wondering. They'll have a crack.
Yeah. Looking at that game, Blake Guy kicking 3 for Leachfield. Same with Lachlan Martini kicking 3. And pretty evenly, Billy Hawkin 2 and Jack Guy kicking 2. For Lockington, that man, Tyler Phillips, was named in the best, as to young Paddy Keel. He's a fan favourite of mine. But no one really bagging goals or single goal kickers. Brody Collins, Nick Sheldon, and Jeremy Mundy, and Will Walsh amongst the goal kickers. So,
Similar
yeah,
similar suspects, but you might as well, when Tyler Phillips plays before the game starts, just put him in the best
yeah, exactly,
because he's
exactly.
just going to have
Uh,
crack. You know,
Yeah, well, that's right. Jack O'Callaghan and Marcus Engo, some of the better players there. So, look, I think, yeah, well, do you want to go to our ladder predictor now?
well, we can in a sec. Just on Leachy Gunny though, which we don't talk about them
Oh,
as
yeah, sorry.
we should, because obviously you're never going to see them because they play away.
Well,
But
I'll see him in September, Cogs.
yeah, we might even see them late August because the grannies in September. I think their finals in August. Um, they with Blake Dye who can pop up. There's a few. I think that if any of the sides in there are a wild card, it's them. And they've shown they've nearly beaten Mount Pleasant at home, and they got some good results around the place. So they're inconsistent, but Blake Dye can pop up as he did, and there's other blokes they can swap around as well. So yeah, just keep your good eye on Leachville Gumbow.
Yeah, you're right. We saw them against Heathcote where they in patches actually hit the front and then
Mm.
Heathcote came back. So you're right. They can cause a bit of damage there. I think they'll probably be fifth on the ladder at the end of the season's end before the finals series starts. But that's not to say that, once they make finals anything can happen.
Well, let's have a look at the predictor, Dave, because Huntley would be interested in where it at, and mind you, they would know anyway.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So the predictor. So what I've done, just to explain to our viewers, there is I've looked at the next 4 rounds, so rounds 15 through to 18. I've taken the current ladder position,
Yeah,
and for each of those games that you can see in green for the sides, I
yeah.
should say, they're the teams who I think they will beat. So, for an example, Mounts play North Bendigo. I think Mounts will beat North Bendigo. Where it's red, I think that team will lose. So Mount sitting second on the ladder at the moment, will lose against Mount Pleasant. The team that's got a blue shade, they got the bye for that particular round. So looking through rounds 15, I'm saying wins to North Bendigo, Elmore, Leachfield, and wins to Mount Pleasant, Heathcote, Colbernavon, and Lockington. And for round 16, Mount Pleasant plays White Hills. I'm saying it's a win there. North Bendigo v Heathcote down at Heathcote. I'm saying that's going to be a win to Heathcote. Uh, Colbernavon over Huntley and Litchfield Gumbow, so on and so on. So what I've then done is said, okay, out of those next four rounds, where do each team, how many wins do they have? And what points and what was their ladder position? And you can see in that far right column, based on 56 points for Mount Pleasant, winning three of their three games left. That will put him top spot with round 17 having the bye. Heathcote, North Bendigo is the interesting one. I've gone Heathcote against North Bendigo purely because that's played down in Heathcote next week. Be a cracker. That would then catapult him to second spot on 46 points. Then this is where it gets interesting. Based on Colburn having beaten Leachfield, Huntley, Lockington, and they have the bye at the end, gives them 3 wins, which will give them 44 points. And I say they end up third on that basis. North Bendigo, I'm saying for rounds 15 and 16, they're having losses against Mounts and Heathcote, but wins for 17 and 18 against Huntley gives them 2 wins, an extra 8 points, which will put them fourth, Coggo.
Yeah, I think you've been harsh on Huntley. I really have. I mean, to say they're only going to win one game out of four, I think they're a massive chance against Lockie. I don't know if they can beat
Oh,
Colbo. They can beat Elmore.
yeah, look,
And North Bendigo's going to be tough, but they would have to get up. They'll know exactly where that's at. They'll look at both those other sides, Leach and Gunny. They got Colbo. I think, yeah, well, they beat Elmore, North, and White Hill. So, yeah, you're probably right about that part. But I think Huntley could, they have to win every game.
yeah, well, as I said, this is my predictions, and
Yeah,
everyone's entitled to their opinion. So based on that, Huntley one win won't get them enough. Even if they have 2 wins, it still wouldn't get them enough into the top five.
yeah. Very
Yeah.
interesting and very impressive by you, David. Very,
Yes.
very
So
well
yeah,
done.
look, time will tell come round 18 where the ladder positioning against the prediction. But yeah, so that would make Mounts on top, Heathcote second, Colbernavon third, North Bendigo fourth, and Litchfield Gumbow around at the top five
All right.
based on that predictor.
That'll do for last week and the Herbie predictor, Herbie HDFNL
That's
predictor.
right.
I've
Had a bit
got
of spare
Herbie
time. I
Hancock's
just thought I'd
handiwork
crunch.
with the HDFNL predictor. It's big. But right now, I reckon, hang on a sec. Let's do this. So I've called it the Wednesday whip around, Dave, because we've been
Yep.
doing a bit of a chat in the middle, and it's time to whip around to the competitions, not just the HDFNL, things that are making news around the place. Gisborne in the Ballarat League for next year. Do you reckon, well, they will be, sorry.
Yeah, well, it's been announced earlier this week that Bendigo Football League have agreed or accepted the request to vacate the competition by the Gisborne Football and Netball Club, which I think, has probably dragged out 12 months too long in Gisborne's eyes. But at the end
Mm.
of the day, they've got their wish. They'll be heading across to Ballarat, which they'll join neighbouring areas such as Bacchus Marsh,
No,
Sunbury, and what's the other one?
Melton.
Darley down that way. Yep.
Melton.
And, yeah, and so it's probably a win for them. It's probably good. I see the Gisborne under 18s on the weekend forfeited their
Did they?
match. They did against Strathfield, say, just purely because they don't have the numbers because of the 30th of June deadline. They were unable to get extensions on their match permits for those players that were playing with the Gisborne Giants, I think, in the Riddle League. So they're going to obviously look for the future and start recruiting some of those boys for next year, which is an interesting sign.
Mm.
So yes, that's going to leave as it is currently the competition in the Bendigo Football League to 8 teams.
Yep.
And I know the search is on by the probably board of the BFNL to find a ninth, if not 10th team. And the question remains, who will that be, Cogs?
All right. Well, predictions are what you're good at. So, who's it going to be? They'll need another team next year.
I don't think it's Morong, and I don't think it's Maiden Gully.
I think it has to be one of them. I think it's Morong.
I don't think. I just think, and I've been speaking to a few people around the traps. A couple of good points is one thing we got to give consideration to is the facilities, whether they're up to standard. Um, I think with Maiden Gully, the fact that they co-share with a school will have some issues from a league perspective. And in terms of Morongs, I think the facilities are probably not up to what would be considered BFNL standard.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't have thought Golden Square's in great shape at the minute, but anyway, a lot of work going.
No, but they're going through redevelopment.
I would have thought that YCW, I mean, the school thing, I get that. I mean, yeah, look, the ground's new, the facilities are new. I'm not sure that's yeah. Having said that, I do understand what, you look at the other teams and, yeah, I think there'd be quite a few down that way. Castlemaine would be going, hang on a sec, look what we've got. And it's not great.
No,
Not their fault, by the way.
no, that's right. But the thing is, they've been in the competition for the last 60, 70 years.
Yeah, but facility wise, I think you'd want to be careful with that because yeah, some places are lacking.
Oh, that's right, and that's no fault of Morong, and that's not being just. I think just with a competition such as Bendigo Football League being a major competition, they'll want to ensure that there's a certain level of facility standards that clubs must meet.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt they'll be doing that homework, but we'll see. I can't see anyone up Chuka way wanting to play in Bendigo. It's too far.
Well, that's the only other club I can think of would be Echuca, and they have hinted at maybe looking to relocate back into the Bendigo Footy League. Yeah, it's now up the road, but then we're traveling now south at the moment, so um, probably a little bit more than an hour south if I get there on Saturday. So yeah, for me, the ninth team doesn't come from the inner Bendigo region.
Yep, I think it'll be YC. There you go, because I think Morong, you're right about the facilities. Now I think about it, but I think YCW's got a lot of upside. Yeah, anyway. The other one is the Kahuna Kangas have got a week to wait. They've done their presentation. They did it this time last week.
Yeah,
And now the presidents, etc., the clubs have got to get together and vote. And that will happen a week from today. So there's some mixed feelings. I talked to the Netty girls. I talked to a lot of people, in fact, Dave. That's my job. But
that
you
is
know
your
what
job, Cogs.
you know what they're all not so much. I mean, Leach will Gumbow, the girls tonight will rap because it's 10 minutes up the road or 15 minutes, but it's about the buy.
Yep,
It's the buy. It's a problem.
yep,
They love the buy.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I said that last week. And what it does create is if Kahuna do become the 10th team, it eliminates the bye. But what it does is add added pressure to clubs in trying to recruit for volunteers and personnel for another
Mm.
two games. And it adds an impost to player payments. There's another two rounds of football and netball that you got to financially support. So, yeah, I understand that. And I think from a coach perspective, having that week off of rest is beneficial for the players. They do like it because it gives them a bit of chance to recover.
Well, it evens up the draw. I mean, you're playing, 9 games, and then the second half's 9 games, and that would be the bye that you play. There's 9 versus 10. There's no 10. But I think there's an easy way to fix it, and that is to put two teams in, then you still have a bye. There you go.
So 11th team is what you're saying.
And it's not. I'm joking, but I wouldn't be surprised. And I know a lot of good people up that way at Kahuna who are pretty much counting on something to happen. But I wouldn't be surprised if they say no.
Yeah, look up. Yeah, I just think this will be their third attempt from memory to
Yeah, it is
seek
third.
admission
Yeah,
into the.
no, it's a third.
Yeah. So I think if they are unsuccessful, then they've got to explore other options, probably north.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Yeah.
No, well, the Golden Rivers is the only one that I can think of because they're currently playing Central Murray, aren't they?
Well, the issue is that a lot of the Kahuna players, say their top five, six players,
Bendigo base.
all come from Bendigo.
Yeah,
So you're
yeah.
going to, and here's the deal: you're going to Kahuna. That's cool, but you're also playing Balranald and Hay. They are. We're talking hours, mate. They're over the border.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Unfortunately, as you travel further north, the disparity between townships gets greater and greater, and that's just I guess a scene of the southern New South Wales, northern Victoria landscape, isn't it?
Why wouldn't they try and play in the Loddon Valley?
Well, that's a good option. I mean, you've got
Pyramid, it's
McCorner,
not
which
far to
is
Pyramid Hill.
no, that's right. Not Father Pyramid Hill, not Father McCorner. So yeah, that would make sense. The problem is London Valley's already got 10 teams. They don't have one in 11th team.
Probably not. Oh, they will if they lose one.
Well, potentially, yes.
Yeah, potentially.
Interesting.
Um,
I guess time will tell, Cogs.
yeah, Will. Righto. Let's move on to this week's games, and there is some beauty, so we need to get in and straight away, Dave. I know you want to read the first one out.
Yeah, the first one is Elmore up against Heathcote and Elmore playing for the Karen Hancock Cup. Just joking there, Kaz. You'll miss those sausage rolls too, by the way, Cogs.
Unreal.
No, look, I think that's just going to be Heathcote by how much. I would think, even though it's at home for Elmore, Heathcote are on a roll at the moment, and I want to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, they have a tendency, Heathcote, though, to drop these games.
They
Uh,
have in the past, but yeah, I just think they're looking a bit too slick, and the fact that there's a second spot up for grabs, which gives them double chance, will be the incentive more than anything.
yeah. And, if you pictured this in round 3 or 4, you would never have pictured it because you would have said, man, these guys, I thought they were in big trouble, but they've done well.
Absolutely, and I said the same. And I think if you go back to earlier editions of this show, I didn't even have him making the five at that point in time. But
Mm.
credit to Andrew Saladino and Liam Jacks down there. They've got the boys up firing. And I think, like Luke West wrote in the Addy yesterday, pinch the line from Green Day, the Saints are coming.
Certainly are. Keep going, mate, with the games.
Yeah, look, next game I want to look at is Colbernabon at home against Lichfield Gumbau. I think Colbernabon, after losing down at Heathcote, they'll be wanting to atone for that. And obviously, based on what I've predicted, they can't afford to lose any more games. Otherwise, they could be in that elimination section of the finals in fourth or fifth spot. So I think Colbernabon, Linto will have their boys up and firing again. And yeah, I think they'll be about a 5 goal better side against Lichfield Gumbau.
All right, keep going. I think it is. I think you're right, actually. But I'd just be careful with Leachy Gunny. I think they're still that could be anything.
Oh yeah, no, I just think at home they'll be a bit strong. Lockington up against Huntley. Now this is a critical game for both sides if they want to have that desperation and that, I guess, that mathematical chance of making finals. This is really an 8 point game for both sides. The winner of this team basically eliminates the other team for any chance of making finals. I'm going to go with Lockington, even though they were soundly beaten by Lynchville last week. I think they just know how to play their home ground pretty well. Huntley, we've seen them in patches. They caused the upset of the year by beating Mouse, but I think Lockington at home will just be a little bit strong. I'm going to say the Cats by 4 goals over the Hawks.
I'll go Huntley by a couple. I just think
Yeah.
I just think they're probably the side that's a bit fresher. They're coming off a bye, so few injuries
Yep.
for Lockie. The big one, mate, the big one on the weekend.
Yeah, this is going to be an absolute cracker. I think it's the match of the round, if not the match of the year. North Bendigo at home against Mount Pleasant. Look, North play Atkin Street beautifully. They've got a potent forward line. They've got a potent defence, and we saw that on the weekend. Got Geordie Ford, who's coming bloody, probably one of his best years ever as a forward, which you'd never heard of 3 or 4 years ago.
No.
They got the young players. They got young Noah Philo, Jet Grundy coming through the ranks. They got Cody Riddick and Mount Pleasant. They got their stars as well. Be interesting to see whether Benny Waitman plays this game. Hasn't been playing for the last couple of weeks. I think they've just been parking for the game. And look, this is going to be hard to pick. I have to pick the top side because they haven't done anything wrong. But I wouldn't be surprised if North Bendigo got up as well. I'm going to go Mounts by 2 goals. That's the closeness of this game.
Yeah.
Young Jet Nicholas in the ruck. You got Richie Bennett, and you got the Hindenburgs and Whitings down the back line. And you got the two Wharton boys for Mounts as well, up against Hartley and up against young Will Bennett. I think that's going to be some couple cracker clashes. But for me, I think it's Mounts to win just by a couple of goals at Atkins Street. It'd be interested in your views there, Cox.
Missy Bennett's out, by the way. He's got an injury.
Okay.
Yeah, and look, Ben Waitman, if you're going to do, when they're 44, mate, they're not going to lose. They got North Bendigo. Yeah, no, I'd park him, mate. Park him for now. You don't need
Yeah.
him. Yeah, no one's going to get anything out of it. If they lose, they lose. Um, Having said that, I mean, it's Atkins Street, and they both do it, mate. I've seen both sides play, obviously, a few times, and they both have run-ons. You know, they get things going, and they go, "Geez, how are you going to stop these guys?" But they both do it, both sides. Geez, I reckon North just at home.
North Just, and we saw it in the corresponding game earlier out Tulane. This game ended in a draw, and both sides had their chance to hit the front and take the game by the scruff of the neck, only for the opposition team to come back. So, look, this is going to be a cracker,
Yeah,
absolute cracker. There's
yeah,
no doubt
good.
about it.
Okay, Dave, it's at that time, mate, where you come out with a joke, and I must say last week's was, yeah, so.
Did we cop any flack, Coggo? That's what I'm more
No,
interested
no,
in.
no. I played it really late, so we were fine.
That's all right.
But
Well, I'll keep it a bit
yeah,
more G-rated this week.
yeah, good.
So, young Sam, he proposed to young Lisa, and he was being interviewed by his prospective father-in-law. Let's call him Brian for the sake of the joke.
Yeah, good. That's what we do.
Yeah. Brian said to young Sam, "Do you think you're earning enough to support a family?" asked the potential son-in-law. "Yes, Brian," said Sam, "I am." "Well," said Brian, "think carefully now. There's 6 of us."
Right. Hmm. Look, I can't. I mean, I can't hear anyone laughing anywhere, David. Yeah,
A question for you though, Brian. Did
yeah,
your son-in-laws propose when they proposed to your beautiful daughters? Did they actually ask you for their hand in marriage?
yeah. They did. One of them I said no, and the other one I went, not sure. There you go.
Fair enough.
Not sure if blokes are good. Blokes were good enough for my daughters. That's what it was. I'll wrap you up with a joke, Dave, and you're in this because you should be. Um, Dave, you by the way, he
Yeah,
finds you're out fishing. You love fishing.
I
You're
do.
out, you find an old lamp, and anyway, Dave gives it a bit of a rub, and then rubs the lamp, and then out pops a genie. Genie pops out and says, "Hello, David." He knew your name. "Hello, David. You have one wish, David. One wish, whatever you want, David."
Is this a genie or Kamal? Oh,
And this is a
what?
genie. Guess where the genie gets out and goes, "One wish, David." Blah, blah. Dave goes, "You know what? I'll tell you what. I love to get around the joint. I would love a bridge from, from Melbourne to Tassie. I just that would just, I'd like to drive there. Like there's a new footy team coming, and the genie said, 'Enough, David. I don't care about the new footy team.'" And he said, the genie's standing there. He's gone, scratch his head because genies do that. And he says, "Mate, Dave, that's a bit much. You think about the engineering, thousands of kilometres over the ocean, David. You reckon that you might reconsider?" Dave goes, all right, Genie boy. I'd like to understand women. You know what they're thinking, why they say one thing and mean another, and how to make that happy." And Genie pauses and says, "So do you want 2 lanes or 4?"
Yeah, that's what was going. Tell you what, you had to build a bridge to get to the end of the joke, Brian. That's how long it took.
Hang on. People, you'd be laughing. People are laughing now. They wouldn't be laughing at your bloody joke. All right. Look after yourself, David. I know you're off to Broadford this week. Enjoy that, mate.
Yes, we got a big drive south, Kangaroo Flat play down in Broadford. So,
Yes.
yeah, it's 7:30 start on the road for me. So, unfortunately, you won't hear the dulcet tones of myself in the HDFNL action this week. But
Yeah, we showed
no
it.
doubt. Whereabouts are you broadcasting from this week, Brian?
When you go to Broadford, mate, you'll double the crowd. The we're at Elmore, mate, versus Heathcote. Be good to see our Heathcote
All
Cup.
right, I'll make sure Kazza has those sausage rolls ready for you.
Yeah, plenty of homemade sauce too. Dave, thank you. We will talk soon.
No worries, Brian. Thanks.